So you touched on a couple of players who are going to be up and coming stars. Are there any others that really stand out that we should have on our radar?
I think it's fantastic to see the Sudanese boys coming through. Marbio Shoal and Reuben William. They're two boys that will play for the Allies as well on the MCG Grand Final day. They're the faces of the future. It's going to be super to see in the years to come quite a number of Sudanese boys across the AFL competition, and it's great to see them emerging through the programs there in Queensland. They've got a wonderful feel for the game, these boys. They've got brilliant natural speed. Reuben William in particular breaks the lines from half back, and Marbio Shoal is in the mould of he's a big left footer that can play in the ruck and key forward. He's got a little bit of Buddy Franklin about in the way he weaves through the traffic and kicks on his left side. So I think it's super to see those Sudanese boys emerging through your talent program in Queensland.
And so where do you think the young talent in Queensland sits in comparison to the bigger AFL status?
Well, I think that this year, for the first time, we'll see probably close to 20% of the talent taken through the national and the rookie draft coming out of New South Wales and Queensland. Now that's a massive, it's doubling of the numbers, more than doubling of the numbers from 10 years ago. So it's wonderful to see that the boys with choices, and no doubt they've got choices. They can play cricket, they can play basketball, they might be rugby players in their junior years, but now AFL is on their menu basically as a choice that they can make to come into the professional AFL, and we think more boys are choosing that career path, which is great to see. It's going to be great for the clubs in Queensland and particularly for the Brisbane Lions in the years to come.
And then there was also the younger grades this year who in the state level took out some titles and stuff.
Yeah, that was a highlight in the month of July to see Queensland win the Division 2 Under-18 title under Adrian Fletcher, and then up on the Gold Coast they won the Under-16 title just a couple of weeks later. So went back to back. Wonderful to highlight the talent now emerging from Queensland, and many of those boys are going to push their way into the AFL over the next number of years.
The young talent on the Brisbane Lions list currently, how do you see that? What do you think of the talent on the young line list at the moment?
Well, we mentioned Harris Andrews just before. To play 19 games his initial year, a boy that looked very lightly built as he come into it. You thought he might break in half. Did he stand up? He played some wonderful games, won a Rising Star nomination later in the year. He just fitted in so well. He's so composed. His marking down in defence was fantastic. His intercept marking in particular. Liam, of course, Dawson's another that played 10 games this year in his first year. Another product of your academy, so great to see these boys emerging, and as we mentioned earlier, there's going to be another group coming through this year and next year, so I think the pathway is pretty clear now, and we're going to have more Dawsons and more Andrewses coming through into your club in the next few years.
And so given all that youth and all that talent there, would you say the future's pretty bright?
Well, I reckon at that level it is. Of course, there are many challenges. We had a very competitive competition at the senior level. The trade period's always pretty interesting, so there's 20 or 30 names being put on the table at the moment, but we're about the injection of youth. We worry about our date, our draft day date on the 24th of November, and I think that the Brisbane Lions are going to stock up with some pretty good players when that day arrives.